Hi, I'm Marcel Johnson. Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, our undefeated teams fall, but they still look to stay positive moving forward this season. Our Darren Walker sits down with head coach Heather Mercedes-Fontenot to discuss volleyball's tough weekend's matchup versus Sunbelt foe, Texas State. And later, soccer continues their winning ways as assistant coach Steven Salas talks big conference win against UL Monroe. But first, after losing a heartbreaker at home, head coach Billy Napier looks ahead to the Ragin Cajun showdown in Birmingham against the 3-1 UAB Blazers. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Louisiana Athletics. A disappointing Wednesday as Coastal Carolina knocks off the Ragin Cajuns 30-27. Here now to talk about that and the matchup with UAB this week is the head coach Billy Napier. You know, we've been able to kind of get over some of the mistakes in the first three games and come out with W's, but this time it just seemed to catch up with us.
Yeah, no, I think credit to our team. You know, early in the season we found ways to win games.
Right.
Made some critical plays in critical moments. Still played a little too inconsistent, and then we didn't make the plays when we had opportunities to. So, got to give Coastal some credit. You know, they played turnover-free football. They played better on third down than we did, and ultimately that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, we knew they were going to be a good team. They're now ranked in the top 25. So lacked execution, but did not lack effort. And then what I liked was in the locker room after the game, you immediately saw some leadership, some players stepping up, taking accountability for what happened. Talk about that a little bit and how they've responded so far in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely proud of the way they've responded. You know, I think we got a good group, you know, and to see guys stepping up to the plate, taking ownership of mistakes, realizing that we can do better, and then certainly to put that into action. You know, I think the last couple of days we've seen that practice really hard the last couple of days. So it's been good, and I think it presents opportunity.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights, Coach. The offense came out very hot. They put 7 on the board right on the first drive of the game. It's not something we've done in the first 3 games of the season. Levi was spreading the ball around. You had 7 running backs or receivers touch the football, and then Levi finishes with a nice strike to Jalen Williams.
Yeah, big emphasis on starting fast. We took the ball. We've been deferring. We felt like the matchups were better there, needed to start fast. And to do that, I think gave us some energy and certainly helped us throughout the day.
It's a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Coastal answers, ironically, with a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown drive of their own that tied it at 7. And then the offenses kind of started to struggle a little bit, and that went on for a little while. We had a couple of big plays to kind of jumpstart some drives, but then things just kind of fell apart after that.
Yeah, no, I think we had a handful of penalties that were stopped us at times, and then I think third down we can play better. You know, I think the consensus after the game was they were able to stay on the field, and we weren't. So I know in the second half that was a huge factor in the game.
Coastal takes a 13-7 lead when Grayson McCall finds C.J. Marable for a 13-yard touchdown. PAT was no good, and that left us with 59 seconds and all 3 timeouts and another brilliant 2-minute drill, getting yards in chunks, and then a great call on Levi's touchdown, a quarterback draw. Shane Vallow, Osiris Torrance creating a massive hole for Levi to run through.
Yeah, those are a lot easier when you got some timeouts in your pocket. You know, you can mix it up. You can attack the middle of the field instead of having to work the sidelines. But Levi was really sharp. We got couple good plays from the freshman Kyron Lacey, and a huge catch by Jalen on the double move. Got it down to first and goal on the 9 there, and certainly I thought Shane Vallow's block was key there.
PAT was no good, and we're tied at 13 at the half. Coastal gets the ball to start the second half, and you kind of see what they're capable of right there, doing what they did to Arkansas State, an 16-play, 76-yard drive, and it finishes up with a touchdown, and they take a 20-13 lead.
Yeah, two big third down conversions. You know, one where we've got an opportunity to sack him. He scrambles. They get it to 4th and 1 and go for it. And make that conversion, and then another critical third down we didn't necessarily execute on those two plays in particular. I know Coach Tony, that's one of the areas where we could have definitely improved and made a difference there.
Cajuns answer in less than 3 minutes. You move the ball right down the field, and Trey Regis ties it up with a 10-yard touchdown.
Yeah, good answer.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that pretty consistently, when we got behind. So it's good to see us take a step forward and execute a little bit better on offense.
Cajuns force a punt. You can kind of feel the momentum starting to turn in our favor. But, boy, it was gone in just one play. Levi gets picked off at the 26-yard line. There was only one turnover on the day for either team, and it was a big one.
Mm-hmm. No question. And it gave them a short field.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly just not a great decision. And then I think ultimately led to 7 points, which when you look back at it, you pair that with the third down execution, that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, Coastal did turn that into a 27-20 lead, but the Cajuns answer. Levi with a spectacular 51-yard run. He gets down to the 1-yard line, and then Elijah Mitchell finishes it off to tie things at 27.
Yeah, it's almost, Levi was kind of wearing his heart on his sleeve there. You could tell he was ready to get back at it and competing, I thought that's as hard as he's run the ball since I've been here. You could see that he was passionate and competing and trying to do his best for the team.
Yeah, defense gives the ball back to the offense with 8:52, and we're putting together a pretty decent drive there, but then you get a 3rd down and 1. There's a false start, and that's followed by an incomplete pass where Levi just misses Elijah Mitchell. If he makes that completion, Coach, I'm thinking it's probably a 63-yard touchdown, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I think everybody saw it. We got an undisciplined penalty. And then we have an opportunity to execute a little bit of a tough arm angle with the contained wide rusher. But in general, those are the ones we got to make if we want to do something special.
Yeah, Coastal takes it down the field using up just about every second of the remaining 5.5 minutes. Massimo Biscardi hits the 40-yard field goal with 4 seconds left, and that is the ball game. Next up for the Ragin Cajuns, the UAB Blazers. Coach, this team's pretty good. We saw what they did on Saturday against Western Kentucky. They're a good outfit.
Yeah, no doubt. We've got a ton of respect for what we see on the tape. Coach Clark's a really good coach. Been doing it there for a while. They've got an identity. All 3 phases. I think a lot of height, length, speed, explosive players. They've got a handful of NFL players on their team, and certainly. When you put the tape on, you see a good, well-coached, sound football team.
All right, thanks, Coach, for the time. Those Blazers are 4-1 on the season. The Cajuns take on UAB Friday night, 7 o'clock on CBS Sports.
Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Darren Walker sits down with head coach Heather Mercedes Fontenot to discuss women's volleyball's next test as they host the Red Wolves of Arkansas State.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't just take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
We all have dreams.
I want to dance. I like to build things. I want to explore.
For over 120 years, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette has made it possible for young dreams to become realities. So go ahead, dream big. We'll help you make those dreams come true.
At past commencements, I've welcomed graduates to the finish line of their academic journeys. Tonight, in these surroundings, let me welcome you instead to the end zone. We will be awarding 320 degrees this evening, and it establishes a new university record of 3,610 academic degrees awarded this academic year. So graduates, you are part of an historic occasion. No matter what degree you're receiving tonight, you will play a role in the shape of things to come. Many of you may feel uncertain right now, and that's okay. But looking at you, I am filled with hope. The sun may be setting now, but a new dawn remains ahead, and you will lead us toward it. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you for being here, and go Cajuns.
Historic Earl K. Long Gym was the site of a big Sun Belt Conference volleyball series between the league's two best teams over the weekend. Unfortunately for Louisiana's Ragin Cajuns, really didn't go their way as Texas State took all three matches against the Cajuns in this Sun Belt Conference series. Texas State won the Friday match by score 25-11, 25-21, and 25-14. But the Cajuns came back in the late Friday match. They won the first two sets in that one. Impressive fashion coming back after the Friday morning loss, but then Texas State caught fire in the third set. They won the third set and then took the fourth and fifth sets going away to make it 2-0 on Friday. Saturday's match was also a three-set affair that Texas State won, but the Cajuns were able to rally back in set number 3. They actually had a 3-point lead several times late in the third set, but Texas State scored the match's final 4 points and took the overall series over the weekend. The loss for the Cajuns dropped them out of the ranks of the unbeaten. They are now 3-3 in conference play and 11-3 overall. Reporting from Long Gym, I'm Dan McDonald for Inside Louisiana Athletics.
The Ragin Cajuns volleyball team had its first setbacks of the season as Texas State took 3 matches against the Ragin Cajuns this past weekend. Here now to talk about that and upcoming matches is the head coach, Heather Mercedes-Fontenot. Obviously a disappointing weekend to say the least, but now that you've had some time to maybe go back and watch video and look at statistics, tell me your mindset now.
You know, I think it was a big wake-up call to our kids. You know, one of the things we talked about after the match on Saturday is urgency, you know, because we had been playing a lot of matches where we would get behind 7, 8, 10 points and still be able to make that up. And against a team like Texas State, you can't do that. We would get behind and think, oh, we can make this up. Mm-hmm. And their defense didn't allow our offense to get rolling on the outside most of the time. Last week we talked about how each team had these long layoffs and how important it was going to be to knock the rust off, get out to a good start early. But it just kind of didn't happen. Texas State jumped on you in that first set of the first match, and it was on. Yeah, that's putting it nicely. I think jumped on. They played really well in that first match. They did, and we didn't have a lot of answers for what they were giving us, you know. But I think the real story was how we came back in the second match. I wish it would have ended a little bit better for us, but I really appreciated how our kids took our adjustments that we made going into that second match and really turned it on. Definitely made it a much better match, although we didn't come out victors
Yes.
Either.
Texas State was hitting at 372 in that first match. You guys were well below where you'd like to be, obviously, at 115.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, I know, and we just were not finding an answer for. They pretty much shut down Haley and Kelsey, our two outsides, and we weren't passing well enough to get our middles rolling. And that's, I mean, good teams will do that to you, you know. And again, it just goes back to, are we practicing with urgency? Because I feel like we just kind of sat back and took it, and we didn't come out like, hey, like let's get this done. And it was like, oh, we've got all the time in the world, and meanwhile points are ticking by, and all of a sudden it's 19-9 or something crazy, and our kids are like, oh crud, now we're going to turn it on.
Right. Well, you did turn it on, like you mentioned a little bit ago, in the second match, the one that was Friday night. You came out and won those first two sets. What was working for you there?
We were passing well and giving the ball to Kara Barnes and Cammie Hicks. You know, our middles did a fantastic job, and they carried us. I think after the first two sets, they were both hitting over 700. But the story of it was our pin hitters, our three outsides, just couldn't find a way to score. We're really struggling, and you know, Texas State was doing a good job digging everything that they were given.
Yeah, the turning point was that third set. A lot of momentum swings in the game, but the Bobcats went on a 9-2 run, and they go on to take the match. And so how much, it's kind of an obvious question, but how much of that was a factor in them winning the fourth and fifth as well?
Yeah, you know, I think the shift happened in our passing in the third set. We didn't pass well. And then in the fourth set, you know, okay, we gotta come out and do this. And I think at that point, you know, and I don't know, we didn't really talk about it much on our team. It's a bummer, but in volleyball, it's really become this thing. It's called a reverse sweep. And in coaching groups, I hear about it all the time, where it used to never be a thing, and now it's a thing. Like, you see these reverse sweeps happening all the time, and so I think with our kids, you know, they had to find their footing, and it wasn't like we didn't put up a fight in those other sets. We just couldn't find the momentum that we had in the first two sets.
Yeah, and so Saturday, Texas State goes on to sweep the final match. Girls did show a lot of fight there in the third set, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's tied 24-24. We're up 23-20, I think, at one point, to close out the third set, to move it, you know, to extend the match. And they just scored 5 quick points just like that. And so, again, you know, what we did not stop very well this weekend was the run. We allowed them to go on these big, long runs. Right. And, you know, volleyball is a game of runs, right? And so, again, that's what we're going to be working on this weekend in practice, and as well as urgency to score right now.
Big matches this week, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
You host Arkansas State. Both of you are 5-3 in the Sun Belt standings. A team you beat twice in the regular season last year, but then they knocked you out of the conference tournament.
Oh, you had to bring that up, didn't you? Yeah, and a reverse sweep.
Well,
we were up 2-0, and they won the next 3. You know, again, it's one of those things where we have to, you know, every time you come out in a set, you have to continue to reinvent yourself. And if we get stale, if we get stagnant within our offense, which sometimes can happen, then other teams can jump on us. So we have to make sure, again, that we stay creative and keep pushing towards always looking different.
Thanks for the time, as always, Coach. Once again, those matches are on ESPN Plus all weekend. We'll have highlights and reaction next week.
Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, assistant coach Steven Salas talks about their hot streak and upcoming game against the Little Rock Trojans.
2020 has been, wow.
Do you really want to talk about 2020?
Is it over yet? Get $13,000 off the MSRP on the 2020 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Texas Edition. Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette.
You know, the faculty will be impacted by advance, but really the faculty are the ones who have driven for decades this significant educational experience here. You know, it's their passion and their love of students that have made undergraduate research and creative works, experiential learning in general, available to our undergraduate students. This is going to provide a mechanism for faculty to reach more students and provide the resources so that these faculty can entice more students into the experiential learning experience.
When it comes to professors, from a professor perspective, we are constantly looking to get students involved, you know, not just in the classroom. I mean, we want that student that's going to raise their hand and engage, and we're actually looking, though, for not just that student, but for every student to engage in that same way. You know, that said, it takes a lot of resources to not just do our own work, but to train other students to do it. When I think about my lab, for example, there's kind of my line of research and what I would do if I were just doing my own work and not mentoring anybody. And then there's all of the pieces involved in getting those students to engage in research in a meaningful way. There are you know, financial resources, there are training resources. If I want to teach my students not just psychology, but how to do research of psychology, and not just psychology, but my particular area of psychology, that's a big burden for me to overcome. You know, I've got to convince them that it's important, which I think just having the advanced program in place does. I've got to convince them or help them find resources, financial resources, so that they can take time off work or travel to a conference to present their work. You know, and I've got to provide these fundamental skills that are about research that really aren't my expertise. So what the advanced program does for UL Lafayette professors is it provides us with extra resources to support those students, providing them with just the support of having an agency that's within the university that's entirely devoted to this little bit extra that they're trying to do.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, I think I will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
At Courtesy Chevrolet in Broussard, we're counting down the days until 2021. So we're giving you the best prices on all of our 2020s.
Get a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500, $29,988. Or get a 2020 Chevy Equinox LS, $19,988. Courtesy Chevrolet in Broussard.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Ragin Cajun soccer team has its streak now at 6 wins in a row after a 2-0 win over UL Monroe this weekend. Here now to talk about that and the upcoming matches is the assistant coach, Steven Salas. So you were supposed to play 2 matches this weekend. You were supposed to have a home match on Thursday night against Lamar, but that got canceled because of some COVID issues on their team. I would imagine that's a game that you guys really wanted to play just to kind of keep rhythm maybe.
Yeah, I know the coaching staff from Lamar, and they're a very talented team. Like I said, the last year Southland champs, so just being tested, kind of giving it a different look. We were looking forward to it, but we totally understand. Just gave us more time to focus on ULM.
Right. Speaking of the Warhawks, you head to Monroe on Sunday afternoon, and it was kind of a quiet first half for you offensively, but defensively, your team really had to step up because the Warhawks were kind of peltering you guys with shots in that first half.
Yeah, ULM came out with a great game plan. They just had a new coach take over, and like I said, he's improving that squad. Kind of refocused everyone at halftime and got on the right page and put the game away in the second half.
Yeah, they had 9 shots in the first half, 13 for the entire game, which I know is a high number, probably higher than you guys like to see, but at the end of the day, not a single one made it to the net.
Yeah, Lauren Starwood, again, stepped up big. She probably made 3 big saves. I think there's really only 3 chances out of those 13 that we were really concerned about. But like I said, she stood tall and kind of just matched up to the opponent.
4 minutes into the second half, you guys take the lead. Una Anastada finds Lizzie Mayfield for the goal to put you up 1-0. And during the 6-game win streak, Lizzie has 3 goals and 3 assists. She has really turned up her play here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, like I said, at halftime, we just asked them to step up to the challenge, asked them to refocus. Lizzie and Una stepped up in big ways, kind of giving an assist to goal to each other. And it was a very well team goal. Just a nice combination. Found the back post, and like I said, she's stepping up in a big way right when we need it.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, 8 minutes later, Mayfield kind of returns the favor as she finds Una to make it 2-0. And also during this 6-game win streak, Una has 3 goals and 2 assists. She has also stepped up her play.
Yeah, like I said, Una, just a very, very smart player, very talented player, plays with a lot of passion on her shoulders. And like I said, just has that connection with Lizzie and has done a great job. And both goals were 2 very nice team goals. But take granted, with Lizzie and Una, just like I said, unbelievable goals.
The last 2 games coming up of the regular season are this weekend. First, a home game Thursday night. You're hosting Little Rock. This is a team you beat 2-0 earlier, actually just a couple of weeks ago. And they're right behind you in the conference standings, so this is an important match for you guys.
Yeah, Little Rock gave us a tough game. I thought that they were the better team in the first half when we played them, so they're going to be looking for a little redemption coming back into us. But like I said, we're playing good, really focused going in the last 2 games leading up to the conference tournament.
Then you go on the road to finish off the regular season. You go to Arkansas State. They lead the West Division, and this is a team that you lost to 1-0 earlier this year.
Yeah, our girls are really focused on that game. Like I said, we've lost to them 1-0, I think the past 3 times. So again, focusing on the game against Little Rock first, but we really want some redemption against Arkansas State, just with them being first place.
Gotcha. Thanks, Stephen, for the time. As always, let's hope you guys stay hot. We will have highlights and reaction of all of that next week on Inside Louisiana Athletics.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, nothing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
At Courtesy Chevrolet in Broussard, we're counting down the days until 2021. So we're giving you the best prices on all of our 2020s.
Get a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500, $29,988. Or get a 2020 Chevy Equinox LS, $19,988.
Courtesy Chevrolet in Broussard.
Thanks for watching another episode of Inside Louisiana Athletics. Be sure to catch us next week for more Ragin' Cajuns coverage. Go Cajuns!